Hello, Marcus Bronzy here from How to Kill an Hour, and today we're looking at the Rode Procaster Beta 2.1.2. Now, this is a software which is adding some new functionality to a really cool desk, and we do have a previous video which shows us installing the software, and as you can see, we're just installing it right now. But yeah, it's pretty easy. You download their app, you press install, and it does the rest for you. What we want to focus on today is what functionality you actually get once you install. So let's take it from there. So now the Rodecaster has installed the beta. We can see the little beta here on the software. We'll get back to the software in just a moment, and we'll show you some of the things that it can do. But I suppose it's time we look at what's changed here. Now, as you can see, there's some broadcast meters, which I'll get into in just a sec. But let's go through the settings one by one. So channels, you have all of your separate channel settings where you can adjust your microphone. As before, you can pick what you've got. I'm using an SM7B, so condenser is suitable for me here in this situation. You can adjust your level. Again, that's not much has changed there. Audio processing, that all looks the same as it used to. And your voice tone and strength, medium, strong. There you go, deepen. You know, with all of the settings, just to go back a moment here, all the audio processing, I'll turn them off. So that's big bottom, aural exciter, processing, that's all the Aphex stuff. Whoopsie. That's all the Aphex stuff there. Then we've got the noise gate, de-esser, high pass filter, and compressor. So that's how it sounds raw, coming out the microphone. And then here's me adding in each of the layers, which I think for presets work pretty well. There we go. And you can also switch across these by going to each of your channels here, which is easy. And coming back out and going back in again. You can also adjust your USB settings, so you can have speech or music, whether you're playing your USB. Yeah, USB. You have the smartphone settings where you can also adjust whether it's phone call, speech, or music as well. Some advanced settings too, which I can't get into just now. I think I'll be, oh, there we go. You can audio process it as well. Give it aural exciter. If it's speech or music, there you go, aural exciter and big bottom. So you can add a little bit of Aphex processing in to things that are coming in off the smartphone, the TRRS lead. Bluetooth, let's see what we've got. Presets, phone call, music. Can we do it? Yeah, we can actually add processing to those as well, which is pretty cool. I'll just double check. Can we add those presets if we, there we go. There we go. So yes, you can add some presets to them depending on which preset you add. So you can add some actual special effects, we say, special effects. Audio. We can add audio effects to them depending on which setting you have them on. All looks pretty cool. Podcasts is where you can listen back to your podcast. If I press on that, then you won't be able to hear me. There you go. I'm back again. Sounds is you making adjustments to your sound effects. So let's switch over to a soundboard. Farts. So silly. Here we go. Let's pop over to a soundboard. Let's see if you can hear those. Let's make them a bit louder. So you can actually select effects and adjust them. So there's actually, you can adjust the color there. So you can see it's adjusting the color. So there's a purple. You can choose how it plays. So it's latch, where it just stays on. And if I tap it again, it stops, but starts again. Pause. Plays the end of it. So it keeps playing it till you get to the end. Replay, it will keep playing it again and again. There you go. Play, just regular play. Then you can loop them as well. So here with replay, look. Just keeps looping over. Let's see how that works with latch as well. It will just keep playing it. And that's actually pretty good if you're looping a bed. So if you've got some audio and you just want it to keep playing, but you might want to stop it and start it, that's actually a pretty cool setting, that. Because if somebody might send you 30 seconds of a great bit of audio bed and you just want to play it for 60 or 90 seconds, now you don't have to worry. It will just continue to play. As you adjust the fader up and down, it will continue to go in the background. They also have this, which is the expletive button. So I'll show you two settings for it. Would you like to keep the existing sound or replace it with a beep tone? So I'm going to keep the existing sound. So what happens when I do this, it actually cuts off all channels. So I'm going to carry on talking as I press this button. Look, I'm still played up, that's me letting go of it. So as long as I hold that button down, it will mute everyone. There's another sound effect you can have for it as well. I'll come out of it and go again. You can replace it with a beep tone. So now if someone starts swearing like, I can't believe you let us know about this and you cuts everyone off, and it cuts all the audio off. And then there's trash talk, which I won't be able to show to you now, but if somebody is hooked in and they're listening to you via Skype or they're hooked in listening to you by a phone line, so what that does is it cuts all outgoing audio from the desk. So if somebody's talking to you and you want to talk without them hearing what you're saying, this is what you press. Just like this. It should cut off now. Anyway, so we've done the sounds. Then there's advanced micro SD card settings, podcast transfer mode. If I flip it into that, then we'll end up back onto the Rodecaster Pro software, and that's where you can download your audio. You can, I'll get you a clip of it if I can pop it in the video, but pretty much nothing's changed. You can just decide whether you download WAV files, MP3 files, different kind of audio settings like Spotify or Anchor. But really the most important thing is that you can download your multi-track files as MP3s or as higher quality WAV files. I think that's a super important feature. Then you can also see your full capacity and your format. Brightness, you can change your screen brightness, your active state and inactive state brightness as well. Headphones, limit the maximum volume, which is quite good if you want to stop people from hurting their ears. I have that disabled at the moment. Boost headphone volume as well, which actually gives you a bit more out of the headphones. I don't know why anyone would do that because I think they're quite loud anyway, but a few people said they wanted a bit more volume out of them, but I've been in clubs for years and they're fine. Bluetooth settings, nothing much has changed there. Audio. With multi-track, you can record multi-track to your SD card, which means you take up a lot more memory, but you have a lot more options in the edit. If you can have separate audio files, you can actually multi-track record to USB, which shows the multi-track option in your audio inputs when you're looking at audio things like even just your regular input on your Mac. You can choose multi-channel or stereo, or you can choose from that in something like Audition or your DAW. And we have post fader, which means all of the effects that are added are popped in post fader for you when you're listening via multi-track, which I think is quite good because even though for myself personally, I do like to have separate channels. I do know I might want to pull a bed down or pull some audio down. And when I'm listening to the multi-track sequence, I want all of those nuances to be added in. You might not want to. You might want everything recorded at full whack and adjust it in the edit. That's what post fader is for. Let's not skip forward. Processing. So USB mix minus. Long story short, that stops somebody who is speaking to you on Skype from having a feedback loop. Also works in other situations as well, but that is what that's mainly important for. I'm trying to make it as simple as possible here. Ducking means that the channel one gets a bit more prominence and the other channels duck underneath it when they're talking. Good if you're a main presenter who has to talk over arguing people. TRS output, a 6 decibel pad, just brings it down a little bit for you. And the effects edit mode gives you advanced effects for your microphones. Now, you're currently listening to a preset on Rodecaster, which I like. Once I flick this switch, you're going to hear me sounding a lot quieter because I'm going to have a lot more in terms of options to edit my microphones and compression. I'll explain that properly in just a sec, but I'm going to get a little bit quieter. Here we go. So we have done that there, processing. So before we get any further, let's hop back into our effects so I can show you an example. I'm just going to shortcut here and go to audio processing. So now, can you see all of our processing looks a little bit different? Now, it probably sounds awful because I haven't messed with it. I'm just showing you. So that now you see within your high pass filter, you can choose how much audio is let through. You can also adjust your noise gate. So I'm going to turn that threshold all the way down, all the way up, all the way down. So you can hear that. Its range and release as well. You can just whack it off to one that will sound nice and obvious for you as well is that the compression. So change that threshold all the way. We can bring it all the way up here. Ratio, throw some gain on it. I'm just messing with all these. I'm going to reset these in a second. I'll show you how. You can have the tune, the harmonics, the mix of your aural exciter. All of these settings you can adjust. Now, I'll be honest with you. It's great that you can access all of this and you can adjust all of these things. My personal opinion, though, I want to just crack on with recording. If you are an audiophile and you really want to get in there and get into the nuances of your microphone, that's great. But personally, in this beta version, I'm very happy with the settings that are provided to us when we are literally, let me get to the right bit of the menu. I'm very happy with the sounds that are provided to us with just regular effects. I'm going to get a bit louder again. There we go. I'm happy. I'm happy with it. I'm happy with the presets, and I think that they do enough for you. I could sit here for hours tweaking a microphone, but I'm happy with this right now. Operations. Automatically mute outputs. That mutes your outputs when you throw a microphone up. Great if you're making a home radio environment. So when you're in radio, when you pull this mic all the way down, you actually hear the audio that's coming out from the effects or the beds and other channels. But you don't want to loop back from your microphone. So that automatically cuts them off. Disable the level knob. That disables this level knob here because you may have another setting somewhere else or another place where you're adjusting your volume level. You just want a flat set of audio at a certain level coming out of the desk. Enable pre-fade listen. So that enables you to listen to pre-faded channels. Pre-fading is just basically listening to what's going through a channel before you pull up the fader. There are other nuances in it, but that's the basic way of explaining it. Broadcast meters, adjust your meters from looking like this, which is fine, okay? And then you can actually adjust it back to looking like this. There you go. So you get more of a realistic decibel reading. All right. Then there's MIDI control. Exciting. I'm not going to show you the full MIDI explanation here in terms of what it can do because people are still working out some really cool ways of making MIDI work with their DAWs. But long story short, it means when you push buttons and move faders on this desk, you can affect other programs. So, for example, if I'm playing with a DAW, I can have this fader in the DAW, and during a mixdown, if I move this up and down here, it will move up and down in the software. If I hit a button, it will fire off an effect in the software. And also, as well as that, you can connect it to video editing software. So live streamers can effectively push a button and change a camera angle. So you could have cameras here, audio effects here. One thing when you are programming them though, you will still get a sound effect when you are pressing buttons. So you may get a camera change at the same time. So they suggest that you cut all audio out of that and probably make sure that all of the settings like the trash talking and that sort of stuff are turned off on that effect so you don't affect other people. All right. Coming up next, we have just in case. And MIDI control basically means if you push a button on the desk or move the fader, you can adjust a software program, a DAW even, digital audio workstation. And then there's MIDI, which basically means if you press a button, MIDI control, which is a big deal, which means if you press a button or move a fader on this desk, it will affect your program. If you're using a DAW, where you can connect to your fader, means that when you push a fader up here or there, it actually adjusts in the software for you. If you push a button, it also means it can adjust the software too. That's the most easy way of me explaining MIDI. There's other things that MIDI can do as well in terms of recording. But also, someone worked this out. But also, Rode have explained that you can hook this up to things like OBS and other streaming software, which when you tap a button, instead of a sound effect, or as well as a sound effect, you can also change camera angles. But they do say make sure you've cleared the audio off the button when you do set up MIDI, otherwise you're going to hear at the same time as you change in channels. Now that's a big deal, and I look forward to loads of people showing us how we can explore MIDI and a Rodecaster. Effectively, this could become the only desk you need if you want to stream. Big deal. Very, very big deal. Now, I think that's it. Information. There we go. Factory reset. I haven't checked whether it's still got the same swipe up to get to the menu. Swipe down. Oh, yeah, it has. You can still swipe down to go to the menu. Cool. Other than that, things seem pretty cool. Over in the software again, you have the effects editor, which you can open up. I have to enable effects mode, so I'm going to sound a bit pants again. But here you can actually see live adjustments to your microphone settings, which actually I think is really good. It means that you can really get in there and make some adjustments real quickly. You can adjust you can even reset the effect parameters to their default values. There you go, that's nice. So you can make sure that everything's reset to its default values before you start tweaking around with them, which is lovely. But it's nice to just have a visual representation of things like the compressor. It's great. And also your master compression as well. So you can give everything a solid bit of compression, bit of gain, make sure what's coming out of the desk is really good. And I'm just farting around with these right now, but I'm just showing you how you can adjust your compression here, which is great. Again, if I'm honest, I'm a fan of how it sounds out the box. And I know there's people out there that are going to be screaming at me about that. But you know what? I'm here to make great content. And I think the quicker and easier the more quickly and the more easily that these tools like the Rodecaster Pro help us create stuff without having to worry about the nuances of compression and just make you sound good, I think it means that we can crack on and focus on making awesome sounding podcasts and make sure the content is great.